Darklings, witches, and everybody else watching this. Welcome to Erie's Witchcraft and Serpent Sundays. Yes, Sundays. From here on will now be Serpent Sundays, where we learn different occult knowledge and explore how I incorporate the darker aspects of my practice into said knowledge. What better to represent that than the serpent? So, I have a very interesting topic that's actually kind of quite new for me as well, but I'm exploring it. I am incorporating it into my practice, and it is quite liberating or enlightening. The source where I found this, everybody knows my favorite game of all time, Silent Hill. And it is occult related. Now, Reinstall Paul is a YouTuber, and he covered this in depth and talked about different symbols of the occult in the game, and really went in depth about certain topics with the occult and how it was related. Anyway, it was really good. I do recommend you checking out his full video because I took a bit of what he presented in the video and wrote it in my book of shadows, and then also just put my thoughts and added my philosophy into it. And I wanted to share it with my audience because this being brought to my attention really kind of opened up some doors for me, and I'm excited about it. And this may resonate with you. It should resonate with everybody because we all go through this. But the title of today's topic is going to be the 7 archetypes. What are the 7 archetypes? Well, they are all around us and they are within us. And we are going to talk about them and explore them. So, in everybody's path, everybody's story, you are the protagonist. You are the lead of your own story. The hero, okay? You, the one walking their path. All of us in our story. And the hero role. To incorporate all the separate parts of oneself in order to be united with his true or higher self and recognize it as a whole. The hero has one or more inner conflicts, which through struggle, sacrifice, enduring all these challenges from other archetypes strengthen the hero or ourself. So the aspects of self are reconciled and thereby integrated to make the hero attain higher self. I hope that made sense to you. This is ultimately our goal, you know, to merge the lower with the higher, and, you know, so make them one, bring them into harmony, finding your power, wisdom, and love. Okay, so these 7 archetypes each have a role and play a role in your life through other people around you that you come into contact with, or even yourself. You can be these roles along with other people in your story. And we're going to explore this. So one of them, the next one would be the mentor. The hero was 1. Mentors 2. And as I am explaining this, try to think about who is playing these roles in your life right now. Who are playing these parts, these archetypes in your path. The mentor provides guidance and tools for the hero's journey. All that is necessary, positive or negative. The mentor presents challenges tempered with wisdom for the hero's journey. So that's the mentor. Then we have the trickster. The trickster archetype serves to break the status quo and introduces surprises, often playful, humorous, and often introduces chaos to the hero, yet an ally disguised as an antagonist. The trickster is untransformed by the experience, however. So they're there to teach you something, kind of present as like an annoying, maybe even perhaps enemy, but really kind of a ally. They're helping you along. Now, when Reinstall Paul was talking about this, of course, he was relating it to the characters in the video game. But also, he talked about how we can relate to this in the occult. So, these are kind of what was in his presentation. Just wanted to give him credit for that, since I did use his words. And then we're going to get into my thoughts on this and explore it a bit deeper. So just stick with me. Okay, so then we have the shadow. I think in our path we've all heard about the shadow and our shadow self, right? Our shadow form. The shadow archetype presents the hero with the greatest obstacles, the darkest force inside of us hidden deep in our psyche, capable of destroying you, the hero. The shadow archetype represents the unconscious mind of a person. Sometimes the shadow realizes this and takes over the hero role of the story and reflects it outward. Often we trade roles with our shadow and our personal hero. Then we have the herald. This archetype calls the hero to take action, or makes the hero realize the need for psychological change, motivating the hero to start their quest. When you first started your path, what jump-started that for you? What kicked it into gear? Were you your own herald? Or did somebody else kind of activate that for you? Okay, next would be the threshold guardians. An adversary to the hero, this archetype helps the hero learn and grow through seemingly defeating ways, making you realize aspects you reject about yourself or something you need to symbolically or literally rid of and kill to learn and said, lessen, and grow beyond the threshold. So, in my opinion, this is going to be people that enter your life, relationship, friendships, or whatever, and they're there to teach you something, to help you grow, to move you forward, and then their job's done. Sometimes you need to rid of them even to continue serving yourself, and they make you realize these lessons to help your growth. So think back in your life and try to recognize all of these archetypes in every situation. Next would be the shapeshifter. Often gaining the trust of the hero or you, this archetype can change attitude often, fills you with question and mystery. So this archetype, they possess the repressed traits found in yourself or the hero. This archetype can be useful and destructive. This archetype induces further chaos into the hero's psyche more than any other archetype role. So let's talk about this a little more on my thoughts, okay? The alchemical journey is what he called this, and I do like that. So now that I have explained who the 7 archetypes are, I'm going to talk to you guys a bit more about this, okay? So we can get a better understanding of this and how we could incorporate it into ourself, especially shadow work. Occult spiritual alchemy represents the inner dimension of the self so that it may manifest in the outer world forms necessary for the progress, ascension, and enlightenment, in my opinion. Alchemy is an interconnected and non-linear journey of your inner dimensions. The stages can occur in any order. So the stages, which the archetypes, can occur at any order. There's no specific order, which, if you have an understanding of that and what the archetypes are, their roles inside you and out in life, you can kind of understand that. So each step is dependent on each other. So attaining your higher self is not canceling the lower self, but using or experiencing these stages for balance of both masculine and feminine. The lesser like building blocks combine to the greater. Now, this was his example as well that I use here. Just like, sorry about that. Just like atoms are like building blocks to molecules, and a molecule is a building block to the elements. Like them, this is further evolution, and through these stages and looking within to see what we project outward, to experience pain, experience growth, and to change our reality and to manifest. This is the process of spiritual alchemy, and in a sense, shadow work. These steps and somewhat overwhelming and sinister archetypes get us going on our paths, drive us to liberation and enlightenment, line up thoughts, emotions, and actions to help achieve this. But we want control and power over ourselves. So one can see this as something they can try to force in a comfortable way. Thoughts, actions to prevent the psyche from going through these stages. Further creating inner battles, or one can accept that this is an actual life ceremony, constantly driving and challenging and changing you. So these 7 archetypes are sort of like a ceremony inside of us. And he did mention this as he was talking, but it meant so much more to me, you know, really resonated with me. So these archetypes are inside of us, and the people all around us. We're all playing one of these roles of one of these archetypes to somebody in our life, and vice versa. And a bit of science thrown in there that also was in his presentation. I thought very interesting. So it is studied in perhaps fact that through our blood, trauma, memory, experience, and knowledge are genetically passed down. That is how I think we open those doorways to be in touch with our ancestors, to get in touch with our past lives, to remember what we're here for. So inner self instead of outer self will help you, like it did our ancestors, to develop further knowledge and truth. This is not something we have to do or force ourselves to do, because this is occurring whether we like it or not, every day. Anytime we interact with people, anytime we battle or interact with ourselves. So it's not something we can really try to control, only be aware of and wise to. So most battle it, the seeker will prevail. What I mean by that, those who are kind of seem close-minded or biased, or I feel like they're not seekers yet. They haven't reached that point in their path yet. I feel like a witch or a sorcerer is ultimately seeking this without even knowing that our life path is already accomplishing this. These steps in all we think, do, and experience. So we need non-duality. And to achieve this, our lives, no matter how good or bad the experience is, literally are working towards our non-duality on our path. Yin and Yang, Shiva and Shakti, as above, so below, dark and light, masculine, feminine. And then alignment, wisdom, love, power, thoughts, emotions, actions. They have to align. So basically, you feel like you want to do something. You say you're going to do it. Do it. You know? So which role have you been in your life that you can recall? Which archetype have you played for others? And which archetypes have others played for you in your life? Relationships that have not worked out. Why? Which archetype is relevant in those awful or good experiences? And most importantly, identify each archetype you created from unbalanced fragments of your inner mind and self. So that kind of relates back to what I was talking about with shadow work and using these archetypes to incorporate into that. So we all experience this process over and over, but the patterns change in you every time until what is trying to be taught is learned. So, the day we seek inner knowledge, deep knowledge, and incorporate it into us is the day we're doing something, guys. So I think the demonic that I work with all kind of play these archetypes for me. Just as literally everyone does for someone. However, in my opinion, they just get the job done faster. So let me explain. These entities are demonized for this, these traits and behavior, and called evil for it. But if a practitioner is open and willing to be taught by them, they speed up the progress, the lessons, the growth, all of it. That is why when a demon is dragging your life and you're freaking out and it's uncomfortable, it's turning you inside out. You feel insane because they are just taking this ceremony of life within you and fast forwarding that process, that uncomfortableness. The steps to your own reckoning and shadow to succeed in balance of self. You have to descend into darkness, the shadow and acceptance of self, to ascend to light, enlightenment, the serpent activated knowledge. So logically to me, in my mind, I must explore this to achieve what I am seeking and gain the knowledge and wisdom that I want. That was my thoughts on that. Kind of probably set this up as a VR to the YouTuber's presentation that I seen on this. I do recommend you guys watch it, especially if you have an interest in the occult. I just wanted to explore this with you guys and see your thoughts on it. What's your philosophy or your take on it? Perhaps even do a VR to this and share your thoughts and theories. That was mine. And the whole time I was watching this presentation, all I could think about was the people around me, my own mind, and what the spirits do for me and how I interact with them. So, yeah. And now I am trying to identify the different archetypes within myself. And I'm drawing how I would probably perceive them or project them if my life was a game and I was in my own Silent Hill. So I'm not done, but this is my shadow. And this is my mentor / masculine energy. Now, I did him purposely weird and odd, where his faces are just changing, because, of course, in order to mentor me, I'm quite sure someone would look like that and go quite nuts. Yeah, just ask my fiance. The eye for what they see to help you, the heart, and then the protection, the warrior, and the wings. Because I view my mentor and my inner mentor as having many faces, you know, according to what I do or practice, and that kind of masculine energy of protection. And I view it that way because of my fiance. There's a lot of times since we met that he's kind of activated or jump-started me in a direction that I needed to go. So, yeah, in my shadow, that's kind of how I always viewed, like, the darker part of myself. Kind of like me, just a lot more torn, tattered, sad, you know. The trickster, to me, I just did a Lucifer sigil and decorated that a bit. I'm not done with them, but the trickster, because the trickster's made out to be the enemy, disguised as an ally. Who better to represent that in my mind and heart than Lucifer? And then the shapeshifter, I'm doing kind of like a Joker clown type of thing. And yeah, so I'll update that when I'm done and show you guys later. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I found this really interesting, and we're going to play around with different knowledge that I find on Serpent Sundays. And then I am going to share my thoughts and take on how I incorporate that, or can incorporate that, or plan to in my magic, in my practice. So if you want to hear more about this, like I said, go check out Dude's channel. He knows what he's talking about. Reinstall Paul. Thank you guys, and much love.